these two guys are in the same place, and yet they see something dramatically different. Why? Because one of them had spent time with the Lord and learned to look for what the Lord was doing, and one of them was just looking at what the world had around them. All right? One of them had spent time searching the Lord. He'd spent time with the Lord, and so he had the eyes to see what God was doing, whereas the other one just saw the circumstance that he was in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 180 podcast. Today's message is brought to you by myself, Cole Thompson. Hope you enjoy and that you are blessed through the word of God today.
2 Kings chapter 6, starting in verse 8. Here we go. We're going to read it together. I'm going to read. You're going to listen. Now the king of Aram was at war with Israel. After conferring with his officers, he said, I will set up my camp in such and such a place. The man of God sent word to the king of Israel, beware of the passing that place because the Arameans are going down there. So the king of Israel checked on the place indicated by the man of God. Time and again, Elisha warned the king so that he was on his guard in such places. This enraged the king of Aram. He summoned his officers and demanded of them, tell me which of us is on the side of the king of Israel. So pause right there at verse 11. So real quick, just so we are all on the same page. The Israel, which is good guys, say yeah. All right. And then Aram, which is bad guys, say boo. Boo. All right. Israel is at war with Aram, and they're doing this whole back and forth thing. And Aram keeps setting up these really, really good booby traps. And he's like, I'm going to get him this time. But much to his demise and his surprise and not all the things that he likes, okay, Elisha, which is the prophet, he's the man of God, hears from the Lord, okay, or he's given an ability to where he can know what is going on in the enemy's camp. So again, the king of Aram sets up this really good plan. He's like, we're going to get the Israelites here. He sends his men there, but the Israelites are always watching. They're always ready at that time because Elisha is, he's on it. And so the king of Aram is like, who in my inner circle is the spy? Basically, he's like, who's the bad guy? Who do we need to like hang among us? Who's leaking secrets, okay? So, verse 12. None of us, my lord, the king, said one of his officers, but Elisha the prophet who is in Israel tells the king of Israel the very words you speak in your bedroom. That's creepy, okay? Verse 13. Go find out where he is, the king ordered, so I can send men and capture him. The report came back, he is in Dothan. Then he sent horses and chariots and the strong force there. They went by night and surrounded the city. So pause right there. Again, the king is like, all right, we need to go get this Elisha guy, wipe him off the table so we don't have to worry about him. So he sends his people there. When the servant of the man of God, so that is Elisha's servant, got up and went out early the next morning, an army with horses and chariots had surrounded the city. Oh no, my lord, what shall we do? The servant asked. Pause right there at verse 15. So again, the king sends out this army to go kill Elisha, go capture Elisha. And as he goes out to capture Elisha, he's got everything set up, and the servant gets up. Imagine, like, you're just working. This would have been like, when it says servant here, it's talking about the guy that was like under Elisha, okay? So imagine you're learning under this prophet. He's a little bit kooky because prophets, back in the day were all just a little bit kooky, right? They did some weird things. And you just like get up in the morning to go get some water, and you're like, all right, let's go get some water. You like bend over to the well and you like pull up the water, and you like look over, and like the hill's just surrounded with people that are coming to kill you. You pull your water pail out and you look up at the mountain and you're like, oh, it's such a beautiful, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm about to die. So he ran back and he told Elijah. And again, we're asking the question tonight, are you present? Okay, is God present? Is he here in our situation? And here's my first point that I have for you, okay? It is normal to be surrounded. All right, the servant of the man of God, literally, like at this time period, this was the guy who was the spokesperson of God. And yet he finds himself in a situation where he is completely surrounded by some things that look like they're not going super well. All right, Jesus said it this way in John 16:33. He said, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world, you will have troubles, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Jesus said himself, we will have troubles and we will have things go wrong, okay? Just because we follow Jesus does not mean things are always going to go super well. I have a statement I want to make for you guys, okay? And a lot of times we start to follow Jesus, and this is what we think. This is the statement. Follow Jesus, and your life will get better, and your problems will start to disappear. Follow Jesus, your life will get better, your problems will start to disappear. Anyone ever watched a motivational Christian movie? Like, I'm talking, this is one of those movies where the good guy, his wife's about to leave him, his car's broke down, his house is about to foreclose, he can't get a job, and he's like just brought to the absolute end of everything, and there's really sad music and a really dark scene, and all at once he's like out in the rain, and he's like crying, and he's like, Lord, if you were just real, I would follow you. And he looks up and he sees a cross. And all at once, inspirational music starts to play. And he's like, Lord, if I will follow you, for you are real. Okay? I'm not talking about William hitting a mailbox, because it's a different story. He's like, Lord, if you are real, I'll follow you. And so he starts to follow the Lord, and all at once, everything just magically gets perfect. Right? The rest of the movie is just 20 minutes of B-roll that's just so good, you can't even contain yourself. Right? And a lot of times, guys, there are movies like that. Okay? Christians make movies like that. A lot of times we start to follow Jesus and we think that's what our life should look like. We think, oh, well, now that I've started to follow Jesus, everything's going to start to get better and all these different things. But in reality, that is not true. Whenever we look at what Jesus said and we look at the Bible, following Jesus does not mean that our life is going to infinitely get better. All right? Let me make another statement. Follow Jesus, and your life will be better because he will be with you. That is a true statement. Follow Jesus in your life will be better because he will be with you. All right, the first one, follow Jesus in your life will just get better, focuses on how our problems are just going to immediately start to go away. And following Jesus is not your problems are just going to go away. Following Jesus is that he will be with you, so your life will be better. So, verse 16 through 18 of our passage. So we stopped at 16. Let's go back and read 15. When the servant of the man of God got up and went out early the next morning, an army with horses and chariots had surrounded the city. Oh no, my Lord, what shall we do? The servant asked. Don't be afraid, the prophet answered. Those who are with us are more than those who are with them. Pause. So let's just imagine this from the servant's perspective for a second. He runs up to his master and he's like, Elisha, like the hills are flooded with people. They're coming after us. They've surrounded us. It's not looking good, bro. What are we going to do? It's over. And Elisha, I just imagine like he's sitting there drinking his coffee in the morning and he's like, got his Bible open and he's just like on the porch. And he's like, bro, like, it's fine. Those that are with us are greater than those that are against us. And the servant's looking around and he's like, dude, are you not seeing what I see on the hill? And this is what Elisha says. And Elisha prayed, open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see. Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. And as the enemy came down towards him, Elisha prayed to the Lord, strike this army blind with blindness. So he struck them with blindness as Elisha had asked. So again, the servant comes up to Elisha and he's like, dude, they've surrounded us. It's over. Elisha says, no, look again. He prays for his servant's eyes to be open. And all at once he sees literally heaven's army surrounding the enemy. First off, that's like insane. Like that is crazy to think about. Like imagine you saw this huge army surrounding about to come kill you, and then all at once like there's just a ring of fire around them. That's literally pretty much what he saw. And the servant, okay, he was able to see that, But Elisha already knew that they were there. So my second point tonight is, what are you looking at? All right, what are you looking at? These two guys are in the same place, and yet they see something dramatically different. Why? Because one of them had spent time with the Lord and learned to look for what the Lord was doing, and one of them was just looking at what the world had around them. All right? One of them had spent time searching the Lord. He'd spent time with the Lord, and so he had the eyes to see what God was doing, whereas the other one just saw the circumstance that he was in. So what are you looking at? Because the situation was the same for both of them. It just depended on what one of them was looking at. And a sad reality is that often we give up our faith because we look at circumstances that are around us and we think, I'm surrounded by the enemy, God is not present, and we just give up. We find ourselves in hopeless situations where we think we could never get out of this, and we often forget that God is there. A couple of examples that I thought of. I was praying about it this week. All right. Maybe we have a parent that we've written off, that they would never love Jesus, and it just hurts too much to keep praying for them. It hurts too much to keep thinking that there could be something different. We look at the situation and we think that's hopeless, so we end up giving up and walking away from that. But what we don't see is that God has already surrounded the enemy. And the same thing applies to whatever is going on. All right? And what's even cooler is that not only has God surrounded the enemy, but he has also surrounded us. Because God is present. How many of you guys have ever bought a new car, or one of your friends have gotten a new car before? All right. Really cool phenomenon that happens whenever you get a car, or like if your friend or your parent gets a car or something like that. All right. You ever noticed that, like, let's say you bought a Honda Civic. You're like, there's not very many Honda Civics laying around. I don't know what it is. It's just an example. All right. Let's say that you bought it, okay? Now, as you start driving that car, you start noticing, oh my gosh, there's so many Honda Civics that I never noticed before, right? What's happening is that you've trained yourself to look for something that was there the whole time. You just didn't realize it. Okay, and it's the same with kingdom things. If we train ourselves to see what God is doing, then we'll start to see that more, and it's probably been there the whole time. We just weren't looking for it. My last point of the night. You have to have the faith to ask. Right? You have to have the faith to ask. In our story, Elisha was surrounded by the enemy. They were coming. Things looked pretty bleak until he asked the Lord to do something about it. See, Elisha had the faith that God was present, and he had the faith that he would do something about his situation. You have to have the faith to ask. Go to small groups.
I hope that the Lord spoke to you through the teaching of his word today. If so, leave us a comment and let us know. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of our content in the future. Have a blessed day.